Hello, everyone. My name is Claire Fiorino, and I'm a solutions architect at Stripe that specializes in working with enterprise retail customers as well as agentic commerce. If you've been paying attention to the AI space over the last year, you've probably noticed something interesting. AI agents aren't just answering questions anymore. They're booking travel, writing and deploying code, and interacting with APIs entirely on their own. The word autonomous gets thrown around a lot, but when an AI system starts acting autonomously, it inevitably runs into one problem. It has to pay for things. So how does an AI agent actually pay for something? That's the question that machine payments are built to answer. And today I'm going to walk you through what machine payments are, how the underlying flow works, and how two key pieces of Stripe infrastructure, Tempo and the Stripe Link agent wallet, fit into the picture. So let's start with the basics. What are machine-to-machine payments? The simplest definition is machine payments allow AI agents to pay for digital resources like API calls, data, or services fully programmatically and autonomously without a human manually having to complete the transaction. So think about the current model of API access. You go to a developer portal, you sign up for an account, you get an API key, you pay a monthly subscription or sign up for prepaid credits. It's very human driven. And there's friction there. It assumes that a human is managing the budget and the keys. Now imagine a different model. Your AI agent needs to retrieve the data. Let's say it's pulling a real-time market data from a financial API provider. Instead of needing an account and a pre-purchased API key, the agent requests the resource. The server says that'll be 0.01 USDC, and the agent can pay on the spot and get the data. It's all pay per invocation. This is a fundamentally new commercial model for the internet, and it matters from two sides. So for the sellers, businesses that provide APIs, data feeds, or really any digital resource, machine payments unlock pay-per-use pricing at very small denominations. We're talking as low as 1 cent per request. It means that you can monetize growing agent traffic and get paid in real time without managing API keys or subscriptions. For agents and agent platforms, machine payments means that your agent can access services on demand without a human pre-purchasing credits. So the agent really just needs a funded wallet. So how does this actually work? Let's walk through the flow at a high level. So this whole thing is built on top of HTTP status code 402 payment required. Here's the core flow, and you can think of it like a toll gate. So step one, the agent requests a paid resource from the server, just a normal HTTP request. Step two, the server responds with a 402 payment required status, along with payment details in the form of a challenge, like how much do they have to pay, to what address, etc. Step three, the agent retries this request, this time including a payment credential as proof. And step four, the server verifies the credential and returns a resource and a receipt. So that's the foundation. That's how the agent pays, but really how the agent pays in step three depends on what protocol you're using. And Stripe supports two different protocols. So the first is the machine payments protocol. This is Stripe's own open protocol, hosted at mpp.dev, and this was co-authored by Stripe and Tempo. It's the more flexible of the two protocols because it supports two payment methods, crypto and fiat currency. So let's take a look at exactly what those flows are. So for crypto payments, if you as a seller want to accept crypto, there's two paths there, depending on whether you want that payment to settle in your Stripe account or whether you want it to settle in a different crypto wallet. So if you're collecting payments off Stripe, basically the client will request the paid resource from the server, and the server will return a 402 with a challenge that contains the seller's stablecoin wallet address, and then the client will make a payment to that address. Once that payment is completed, the client will then retry this request with the on-chain transaction hash. What if you want these payments to settle in your Stripe balance? So if you want them to settle in your Stripe account, the server, basically, once the client requests that paid resource from the server will create a payment intent, which is Stripe's core payment object, and then Stripe will return a unique wallet deposit address. Similar to the other flow, the client will make the payment to that address, and then Stripe will monitor the blockchain, detect the settlement on chain, and automatically capture that payment intent. So crypto is really ideal for very low dollar microtransactions. Think fractions of a cent to a few cents per call. Tempo is the primary network for MPP crypto payments. Tempo is a blockchain that Stripe helped design and co-owns with Paradigm. It was built for the ground up, specifically for payments use cases. When a developer builds an MPP-enabled endpoint and wants to accept stablecoin payments, they're going to be targeting USDC on Tempo. The machine payments protocol also supports fiat payments. So if you want to accept US dollars and let your customers pay with cards, then you can basically use MPP to accept fiat payments. And this is powered by something called a shared payment token. So a shared payment token is essentially a scoped delegated token that's used to share a consumer's payment method across multiple parties. So the client will request the paid resource from the server. The server will return a 402 with a shared payment token challenge. And then the client creates a shared payment token and then retries the request with that shared payment token. Basically, MPP allows you to accept crypto payments and card payments, which gives you the kind of full breadth of, payment methods to offer to your customers. From an integration standpoint, Stripe has built an NPM package called MPPX that abstracts a lot of this away from you. So you compose your server with a few lines of code, declare which payment methods you want to accept, at what price points, and the middleware handles the 402 responses, challenge verification, and the payment intent lifecycle automatically. The second protocol is X402. So this is an open internet payment standard at x402.org. You can think of it as like the crypto native version of the same concept. It's crypto only, USDC on supported networks, and it involves a third-party facilitator, Coinbase developer platform being the primary one today, which verifies on-chain payments. So it's great if you're crypto first and want to participate in the broader X402 ecosystem, but it doesn't support fiat payments the same way that MPP does. So a simple way to think about this decision: use MPP if you want the flexibility to accept both crypto and traditional payment methods, and use X402 when you're building in a crypto native ecosystem and want to leverage the existing facilitator infrastructure. So I'm going to show you what this looks like with a live example. So I'm going to move over here to this demo site where I have a MPP enabled endpoint set up here. And so I, as the customer, am going to log into my Claude terminal. I've given Claude access to my stablecoin wallet through Tempo. So I'm going to try to hit this paid endpoint and pay with Tempo. Let's see what happens. It's going to prompt me to authenticate. I can approve this. And if we go back to our terminal, we can see that from the buyer's perspective, the payment was successful. Now let's take a look at the seller's perspective. So as a seller, I have been accepting payments into my Tempo wallet. So I'm going to look at this payment that I just accepted. So you can see that this is a real on-chain payment. Awesome. So this is a live example of MPP in action. Now, we've been talking a lot about the seller experience, how you set up NPP, how you accept payments. I want to flip the narrative a little bit to talk about the buyer experience. So in the previous example that I just showed you, I, as the customer, gave my agent access and made the purchase with my Tempo wallet. But what if I, as a customer, wanted to make a payment in US dollars with my card? We've seen that from the seller side, there's almost no work to do to accept card payments. If you've set up your MPP integration to be able to accept payments with shared payment tokens, which as a reminder is the token used for non-crypto payments, you can do this really easily by just, when you're creating your endpoint, you specify the payment methods you want to accept. And Stripe has a method in the MPPX library that will automatically handle payment intent creation when it receives a shared payment token. The problem here comes up on the buyer side. So how does the customer actually make that payment with a card? That's where Stripe Link comes in, specifically the Link agent wallet. So Link is a digital wallet that holds a customer's payment methods. But conceptually, a consumer can connect their Link account to an AI agent. And this could be any agent. It could be a general purpose assistant, a shopping agent, a research agent, any AI that might need to transact on the user's behalf. Once connected, this agent can then initiate purchases across the internet, but the agent will never see the customer's real card details because they're abstracted away through the Link agent wallet. Instead, what Link will do is generate shared payment tokens for each transaction. So every transaction through Link requires biometric approval from the consumer. So a thumbprint, Face ID, whatever the device supports. The consumer gets a real-time push notification, a full transaction history on the Link app, and can revoke the agent's access at any time with just one tap. So let's see what that looks like in action. I'm going to go back to my Claude terminal. I've also given Claude access to my Link wallet. So I am going to hit that paid endpoint again and pay with Link. Perfect. So now I, as the consumer, should have gotten a push request from Link saying that my agent wants to spend $1. So I'm going to go to my Link consumer app and see if there's any new activity in my wallet. Perfect. I see 2 here. I'm going to review this. You can see it's giving me details about the transaction that my agent is requesting. I can inspect this for more details. You can see that it cost $1. And I'm going to approve this transaction. Perfect. Let's go back to this screen and see if we get a successful notification from the consumer side. Great. So we can see that the payment was successful through Stripe Link. And now, kind of flipping back over to the seller's perspective, all these transactions through Link should be settling into my Stripe account. So I'm going to log into my Stripe account. I'm going to refresh this transaction page. Great. And we can see that $1 has settled into our account in real time. Perfect. So that was the Link wallet experience. If you're a consumer or are developing agents, that this solves some pretty painful problems at once. So PCI compliance, if you're a developer building agents, your agent is never handling raw card numbers. It solves fund flow complexity, so you don't need to build your own wallet or card issuing infrastructure to help with this. And there's also consumer trust. So the human in the loop approval is a significant privacy and safety feature that consumers really want. Today, Link Agent Wallet is live and generally available for US consumers, and it supports card payments and US bank accounts. So let me leave you with kind of 5 things to carry out of this conversation. 1, machine payments are not a future concept. They're live today. Stripe is a generally available product with real documentation and real SDKs. Companies like Parallel and BrowserBase are using this today. 2, The two protocols, MPP and X402, serve different needs. MPP is Stripe's own protocol and the more flexible of the two because it supports crypto payments and fiat payments. X402 is the open web crypto native standard. For most Stripe customers building new use cases, MPP is the right starting point. 3, Tempo is the primary blockchain for MPP crypto payments. Link Agent Wallet solves the buyer side problem by giving consumers a privacy preserving and biometric gated way to fund their agents. And finally, this is just the beginning. So we're in the very early innings of an agentic economy where software buys things from software. The commercial infrastructure to support this needs to be reliable, and Stripe is working on building that. Thank you.